This video was made possible by Brilliant, a math and science problem-solving website that makes learning fun and rewarding. In The Joyful Science, Friedrich Nietzsche wrote, "But what if pleasure and displeasure were so tied together that whoever wanted to have as much as possible of one must also have as much as possible of the other? That whoever wanted to learn to jubilate up to the heavens would also have to be prepared for depression unto death, and that is how things may well be." In my opinion, that is one of Nietzsche's sharpest insights. Pleasure and pain are inseparable. As usual, I'm going to explore this idea through a dialogue. A rich man spent the majority of his life chasing things, and at the age of 40, he finally had everything he wanted. Millions of dollars, exotic cars, designer clothes, a big home, a high-status position at a large company, and a beautiful wife. You may think it's weird that I placed his wife among a group of objects that one acquires, but for this man, that was how he viewed his wife, a thing to be acquired. Ever since he was a boy, the man had a mental checklist: get a well-respected job, make a lot of money, get a beautiful wife, and the end result is happiness. But at the age of 40, after decades of hard work, after acquiring all he set out to acquire, after getting everything he wanted, he realized he was no happier than when he started. The sudden realization that he was no happier than when he started threw him into a psychological crisis. What had he been chasing for 40 years? What was the point of it all? All that hard work, and what did he have to show for it? A few nice toys, that's it. And the toys hadn't brought the lasting happiness he had hoped for. He quit his job the very next day, and for weeks, he refused to get out of bed. All he did was eat and sleep. His wife prepared his meals and brought several doctors to the house to help her husband. "There's no point to anything," said the rich man to each doctor. "It's all pointless." Needless to say, the doctors were unsuccessful in helping him. Eventually, the rich man reached a breaking point. When his wife was out to get food, the man left a note on the kitchen counter and walked out of the house. On the way to his destination, he saw the same street performer he had seen every day for the past few years. The street performer wore tattered clothes and played the guitar on the sidewalks. He appeared homeless and sick, but even so, this man was smiling and full of joy every day. The rich man clenched his fists and walked towards the street performer. The following conversation ensued. Rich man: "Hey you." Street performer: "Yes?" "Why are you so happy? I walk by you every day. Hardly anyone listens to you play your guitar. You have no home, no friends, no money, no clothes, no status, and you're coughing up blood for goodness sakes. What do you have to be happy about?" "Ah, yeah, I thought you looked familiar. I see you walk by every day too. You always have a very nice suit on. You probably have a nice home, a beautiful family, lots of money, nice cars, and a lot of respect. But you're still not happy. Why?" I don't know. Probably because everything is pointless and meaningless. Trust me, I've been chasing these things for 40 years. Once I got $1 million, I wanted two. Once I got a home, I wanted a bigger home. Once I got a car, I wanted a faster car. I kept thinking that these things would make me happy, but they don't. Not for long anyways. When you've gotten as far as I have, you realize that everything is pointless and meaningless. That's why you're happy and I'm not. You haven't accomplished enough to know. Here, listen to the song on my guitar. It's nice, isn't it? Yeah, but so what? What's the point? Why does it need to have a point? Why bother with all this talk about meaning and meaninglessness? Just listen. Doesn't it fill you with joy? I guess so. So is that how I can have what you have? By listening? What's with you and always wanting to achieve something or acquire something? You wanted money, so you chased that. You wanted cars, so you chased that. And now you think I have something, and you want to chase that. What's the difference? I may not have all the things you have, but I can tell you something you've never heard. What's that? You think happiness comes from chasing things, but let me tell you something. The happiness you believe in is not real. You think happiness is a state of continuous pleasure, but that doesn't exist. Pleasure and pain are two sides of the same coin called desire. You can't have pleasure without pain. Pleasure comes from getting what you desire, but desiring something means that you don't have it, and realizing that you don't have something you want is painful. So as long as you're chasing something, as long as you're desiring something, you'll feel both pain and pleasure in equal measures. You'll feel pain as long as you don't have the thing, You'll feel pleasure when you get it, then you'll adjust to having it and feel nothing, and then you'll start desiring the next thing. You've been in this cycle for 40 years. You should see by now that happiness does not come from this process. Happiness is not pleasure. Then what is happiness? Forget what happiness is. Listen, you've played this game of wanting and chasing your whole life. And where has it led you? It's led you no further than where you started. But when you stop playing this game for a second, what happens? Listen. When you stop chasing, you can be with the music and allow joy to enter your life. You've spent your whole life looking for the wind in your home, but maybe it's time you tried opening the window. I'm not sure I follow. You've spent your whole life acquiring things, and you still haven't acquired happiness. Maybe happiness is what happens when you give up on the game of acquiring things. You've given me a lot to think about. Here, take this. It's $100. It's all I have in my wallet, but I'll bring you more tomorrow. How kind of you, sir, but no thank you. I have no need for it. I'll be heading off tomorrow. Where to? To be honest with you, sir, I'm not sure, but I'll be all right. Well, anyways, so long. It was a joy to talk with you today. So long. The rich man walked away feeling lighter. He looked at the world as if for the first time once again, appreciating the sight of the sun setting, the warmth on his skin, and the still, silent air. For a moment, all was perfect, and he needed nothing. It was a joyful walk. When he returned home, he saw his wife, really saw her for the first time in a long time. He saw tears in her eyes and pain in her heart. He walked up to her and gave her a hug. Nietzsche suggested that pleasure and pain were inseparable, and explored the meaning behind this idea through a dialogue. Pleasure and pain are two sides of the same coin called desire. There's no pleasure without pain. Pleasure comes from getting what we desire, but desiring something means that we don't have it, and realizing that we don't have something we want is painful. As long as we're chasing something, as long as we're desiring something, we'll feel both pain and pleasure in equal measures. Both the pain and the pleasure are proportional to how badly we want the thing. In modern society, people often equate happiness with a constant state of pleasure, but that isn't a real thing. Pain and pleasure are two sides of the same coin, and you can't separate one side of the coin from the other. But what if you stop, at least for a moment, flipping the coin? What if you stop the game of chasing things? What happens then? In The Joyful Science, in the section titled My Happiness, Nietzsche wrote, "Since I grew tired of the chase and search, I learned to find. And since the wind blows in my face, I sail with every wind." As always, this is just my opinion and understanding of Nietzsche's words, not advice. Feel free to use this information however you like, and if you have a different take on Nietzsche's words, I'd love to hear your perspective in the comments. And if you're looking for a fun way to improve your understanding of the world, I recommend checking out this week's sponsor, Brilliant. You may have heard me mention Brilliant before and how they help you learn science, technology, engineering, or mathematics, but they recently took the interactivity on their platform to a whole new level. Check out this example from their newly redesigned Mathematical Fundamentals course. You might remember the Pythagorean theorem from school, like what the formula is, but in this lesson, you're moving around triangles and actually proving that a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. It's pretty cool, and there's a lot more where that came from. Brilliant is an interactive learning platform built off a very simple yet effective principle. You learn best while solving problems in real time. Brilliant starts you off with simple problems, but they increase in difficulty bit by bit until, before you even realize it, you've learned a fundamental concept in logic, science, math, or computer science. Join a community of over 8 million learners today by going to www.brilliant.org/freedomandthought or click the link in the description below and you can sign up for free. As a bonus for those who are ready to push themselves further, the first 200 people will be hooked up with 20% off the annual subscription. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.